the infamous Nihongo Jouzu. Or, for those who don't know, it means your Japanese is good. If you're a non-Japanese person who speaks Japanese, living in or visiting Japan, it goes without saying you're very familiar with this expression. You might receive this alleged compliment every week, or maybe even every day. I think it's safe to say for many people hearing that dreaded chain of words feels like Nosferatu scraping his fingernails down a chalkboard. You might be wondering, it's just a compliment, what's so bad about it? And even I used to think, Japanese people are sincerely trying to be nice when they say it, might as well just shrug it off. However, after spending more months living here in Japan, I do feel it's problematic. So, the first reason many foreigners don't like hearing Nihongo Jouzu is because they feel it's insincere and patronizing. For example, I have a friend who once simply said, "Arigatou gozaimasu," and was told, "Nihongo Jouzu." Complimenting someone's Japanese just for saying thank you, that's like a 4-year-old drawing a stick figure and the mom replying, "Wow, you're such an artist." And this kind of thing happens a lot. She's far from the only person who's heard it after saying the absolutely most basic Japanese possible. You can't possibly know someone's Japanese level after only hearing 2 words, so you can't possibly compliment them honestly. But what's interesting is that I came across a Reddit post where a Japanese person was asking for advice on how to compliment someone's Japanese without resorting to old trusty. A couple people replying had the opinion that if you absolutely must compliment someone's Japanese, be more specific with the compliment, like their pronunciation or word choice, etc. I thought this person put it well when they said that if you're not specific with your compliment, Nihongo Jouzu comes across like, "Wow, the monkey can actually talk." However, I'm of the opinion that it's really better not to compliment someone's language ability at all. Listen to these people. Honestly, I'm most appreciative when Japanese people don't remark on it and treat me as they would anyone else. Once they throw that out there, I feel extra self-conscious, especially when there's someone I have routine contact with and have to hear the same compliment numerous times. The short answer to your question is, how do you compliment an immigrant's language ability? You don't. The longer answer is something like, look, immigrants just want to be treated like normal people. Do you stop conversations with your Japanese coworkers just to compliment their keigo? No. That's why your Japanese is so good is considered rude. It's not necessary, and you're going out of your way to treat people differently. Not to make them feel better, but to make you feel better. In other countries, we talk about this all the time. White Americans have the same difficulty you do with wrapping their heads around this. What's hard to understand is that really what you're doing is using other people as props to make yourself feel unracist, which is, ironically, super racist. The second person really hits the nail on the head. By even complimenting someone's language ability, you're othering them and making them feel different when you don't have to. If someone lives in another country, they probably just want to fit in like a normal person and not stand out like a 19th century circus freak. I realize that Japan is the most ethnically homogenous country in the world, and immigrants here will always have a hard time fitting in compared to more ethnically diverse countries. But those kinds of comments are just so unnecessary. It's 2023. Japan is a globally loved culture, and we have more textbooks, apps, websites, and other tools available to us than ever before for language learning. It's really not that big of a shock these days that a non-Japanese person can speak Japanese. Now, here's the worst thing of all. So, we know the effect Nihongo Jouzu can have on a non-Japanese person, othering them, making them feel different and uncomfortable. But what kind of effect do you think it has upon a Japanese person? Yep, you heard that right. Even Japanese people hear it too. So my girlfriend is half Japanese and half black, born and raised in Tokyo her whole life. I've been with her multiple times where I've heard people say it to her, and it makes my blood boil. Japanese is her native language, and that's blatantly obvious when you hear her speak. If another Japanese person listened to her talk on the phone, they would undoubtedly assume she looks exactly the same way they do. And if you're a native speaker of any language, you can easily tell if another person is also a native speaker or not. Even someone who might effortlessly and completely fluently speak another language, if there's even the slightest hint of an accent or lack thereof, you can tell. But when certain other Japanese people look at her face, despite hearing her speak flawless, 100% accent-free native Japanese, apparently their tiny brain can't compute the fact that it's her native language. Now, when I look at her, I think it's very obvious that she's exactly who she is. Someone both Asian and black. I can clearly see both black and Asian features in her face, but I guess if you look even slightly different from a Japanese person's mental image of a stereotypical Japanese person, certain people will be incapable of comprehending that this person might in fact be Japanese as well. I'm not sure how many times my girlfriend or other half-Japanese people have heard Nihongo Jouzu in their lives, but you can imagine how draining and offensive it must be to repeatedly be treated like you're not from your own country. It goes back to my point in the last video. Stop assuming about someone just from their face. You don't know anything about them, what their background is, where they grew up, or what languages they may or may not speak. I mean, if I'm back in the United States and let's say an ethnically Cambodian guy walks up and introduces himself to me saying in this accent, "Hi, my name is Robert. I enjoy eating cheeseburgers and playing Grand Theft Auto," I would instantly assume that he was born and or raised in the United States. Do you know how ridiculous that would sound for me to reply, "Wow, your English is so good"? And as ridiculous as such a thing may sound, unfortunately, it does indeed happen. An Asian American friend of mine, born and raised in the United States, was once told by a white lady exactly that. "You speak English so well." Now he had the perfect response. "Thank you. You speak English well too." "But I'm an American." "So am I." "But you're..." "Yeah? Yeah? Never mind." At this point, it finally clicked into Miss Bird Brain. I told my girlfriend his story and that she should reply in exactly the same way next time it happens to her. "Nihongo Jouzu desu ne." "Arigatou gozaimasu. Anata no Nihongo mo jouzu desu." "Domo, watashi wa Nihonjin nan desu." "Watashi mo." I would seriously love to hear my girlfriend reply to somebody that way. And I think she has every right to do so. "Darling, honki de sono henji tsukatte hoshii." Any Japanese people need to recognize the existence of half-Japanese people. And there are a lot of them now. They need to broaden their image in their head of what a Japanese person might look like. Aside from half-Japanese people, As rare as they are, there are also completely non-Japanese people who are born and or raised here in Japan, and this is very much their country too. Nobody should ever be made to feel like their own country is not their country. Anyway, that's my rant for the day. If any Japanese people are watching, please just refrain from that bloody, blasted, cursed phrase. Nihongo Jouzu desu.